It just might not apply to a course.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And you can run, that means you...
That was going to be my question, actually, whether
Yeah.
the credits were still good.
Yeah, I think you can only transfer so many units of credit over
Right.
to a 4-year university, and typically you will basically have those already filled out anyway.
Okay.
So your main concern is, can I transfer this course over here to that course over there?
To shorten your term over there, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. And I think there are a lot of GE classes that are also transferable, which helps. Yep.
Which university has their computer science program? Sac State or UC Davis?
They have different focuses. You have to, I do not know the ranking anymore, but you can go online to certain websites and they give you like an annual ranking of all the universities. So you can basically see how they compare. I think Sac State typically is more pragmatic, okay, and UC Davis is a little bit more on the theoretical side. So it depends on your plan after getting your bachelor's degree. If you want to get a job like right after you get a bachelor's degree, Sac State may not be a bad choice. In fact, some people think it is better than UC Davis. On the other hand, if you want to go to a graduate school after you're getting your bachelor's degree, then UC Davis may be a better choice. Okay, so you have to talk to people who have graduated and look up on the website, look at the ranking and stuff like that. Ultimately, it's not the school or the department that makes or break a degree. Ultimately, it's the people, it's the professors that count. So you have to look at the ratings for the professors as well and see which one has better professors. Yep.
What kind of master's degree do they have for programming?
For programming, well, there's nothing for programming, but they do have it for computer science. So at UC Davis, you can get your master's degree, you can get your PhD in computer science. But with just about any subject, you can get a PhD from UC Davis. It will cost you more time more than anything else.
Really?
Time is the issue. Because if you're going for a graduate program like a master's degree or a PhD, many times, the majority of the times, they have funding, like in terms of a RA, research assistant. So they will give you some money that will be more than enough to cover the tuition fees and possibly to pay for your rent as well. Okay? But you'll be working on the projects that the professors are working on. Okay, so you won't be making a whole lot of money. At the same time, you don't have to put money out, take money out of your pocket either. If you have RA-ship or sometimes they have TA-ship, teaching assistant, money. But it is time that you're losing. Okay, because if you go for a master's degree, you typically spend an extra 2 years to get your master's degree. If you go for a PhD, the average is 5 years and a half to get a PhD.
On top of your degree already.
On top of your bachelor's.
Right.
On top of your bachelor's. So that means for people who have gone out to the field to start to work, they have that much more time to advance, to climb the ladder, whereas you are still in school, going for your advanced degree. And not too many jobs would make the distinction between a master's degree or a PhD. So between those two, the PhD, you have to spend 3 years and a half more, and it does not give you that much of an advantage when it comes to employment. Except for, if you want to work for the national labs or something like that.
Or if you want to work at a university or college or something.
Yeah, or something like that, but people usually go for the industry when they get a computer science degree.
It'll depend on your age and your goals, I would think.
Yep. If you plan to work for Google, then it may not be a bad idea to go for a PhD.
Right.
But in that case, you want to go for a PhD in computer science at Stanford.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. One, Google has a very close tie with Stanford to begin with, and two, they're both in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
And three, you need the salary of a Google job to pay for the student loan if you go to Stanford for graduate school. It's not cheap at UC Davis either, but Stanford is significantly more. But they also have scholarships and whatnot. So they try to make education available to more people too. Okay, so there we go. So we have the class schedules. We have assist here. So I hope these resources will help you do more of your planning. But just as a disclaimer, always consult your counselors. I have to say that part. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll first take a look at the homework assignments, and then we'll go for the practice test, because next Friday is our final exam. Okay, the exam will start at 8 o'clock. It will end at 10 o'clock. So there will be 2 hours of your final exam next Friday. So first of all, we'll go to the homework assignment. We are not going to cover topic 10. In other words, we don't have enough time to talk about types and records. I think that's going to be okay, because we have covered enough topics in this class to get you through at least 75 to 80% of cisp360. So by the time you get through that much of 360, the additional topics would not be too bad. It's not going to be too bad. Yep.
Just for our own interest, did you cover that? Did you cover types and records in your Monday, Wednesday class? And if you
think I did.
Did you create audio?
Yep.
So it's on YouTube someplace?
It's on YouTube.
So if we wanted to, we could just search for
yes.
it. Okay.
Yeah, you can search for the YouTube stuff, pretty easily. What you need to do is to search for the name, which is some profs, the date, and the class name.
Right.
So what you need to do is to go for some profs, which is the name that I use for posting the video clips, and then you. I got distracted by the car. I'm sorry. Some profs, and then you look at the date, which is always starting with the year, and then the month, and then the particular day. So let's say 24 in this case. And then you look for the class name, which is cisp300 for this class, and you hit search. It should find all instances of that. But I have to find out which date I actually cover those topics, because I can't remember. You can also find the actual playlist too. So this is a playlist for these individual video clips. So that makes it easy for you guys to to actually locate video clips for my other classes, because I have one Monday, Wednesday class and one Tuesday and Thursday class. But you don't have to do it before the final exam, because for you guys it's better to spend your time to focus on the final exam first, and then after that, if you want to know what I talk about with records and types, you can go to the other classes, video clips. Okay. I was distracted not because this is not because in general I get distracted by a car, but because this is a scam.
Yeah.
It's a scam. Did I talk about it in the class? No. It claims to be an EV, but it really is not.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a Prius. It's a plug-in hybrid vehicle with a gas engine that is mechanically mated to the transmission, just like a Prius. Except this one you can plug into the wall and charge up the battery. And I think some Prius can do that too, right? The new Priuses, you can actually purchase an additional option to charge the car so that you don't have to run, the gas engine. It's the same thing, except this one qualifies for the whatever amount of, tax credit that you can get for a full for an EV, but you cannot get that with a Prius. Okay, and when Chevrolet advertised this car, they always call it a EV, an electric vehicle, but it really is a hybrid. So that's why I call it a scam. Yeah, and if you just look at it as a hybrid, the gas mileage is dismal.
Yeah.
It goes from high 30s to low 40s.
Yeah.
Even my 2005, Civic, can do better than that. Well, I have a Civic Hybrid, but Civic Hybrids are considered really half-assed, approach to hybrids. Yeah, let's just strap a little small motor to the the drive shaft and call it a day. That's the Civic approach, and I get about 54 miles to a gallon on the highway.
It's like a Ford Escape hybrid, same thing, 50 miles an hour.
Is it? That's pretty impressive because it has even a bigger profile.
Yeah, but since it's a crossover, they have small SUV on a car frame, so that's why it's able to do better on like
or excursion. Think of it, an excursion in a hybrid mode.
Go wrong with different pieces.
Yep. Well, I don't know why they don't make diesel-electric hybrids.
I don't know. I mean, like Volkswagen right now putting diesels in their Jetta.
Yep, and they
The
also...
next thing they're going to do is add a hybrid to it. So
I think they might already do that with some city buses.
Because that makes sense. You know, it really makes sense to have a diesel-electric. I mean, people have been doing that, in submarines since, World War II? They run the diesel when they're on the surface, and then the diesel will also charge the battery. So when they submerge, they run on just the batteries.
yeah.
That makes it easy to make a submergible vehicle.
Come in handy on those tunnels.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at the homework assignment. I got quite a few questions over the week, which is great because that means people are working on it and they have questions, and I hope I reply to every single one because sometimes I forget.
Those the answers to the question.
I can do it now.
Have you got the recorder on?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
And you turned it on.
Yep, recorder is on, doing everything that it's supposed to. And let me just make sure the sound is also there because sometimes I forget to set the sound channel, so all you can see is like silence.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago I was watching one of your presentations at home, and I was messing around with everything on my computer trying to get the sound up, and I finally realized
The mime version, right?
I've got like 3 different audio switches, to turn the thing on or off or adjust the sound if I could just messing around.
Yeah, sometimes I forget to turn it on. Okay, well, here's your program. And let's go ahead and just take a look at the program first, and then we'll see, what it does when we trace it. This one does not involve any return statements. So what it does is it does have print statements, inside the subroutine, so it will print something when it runs. It's also recursive because we invoke S1 from inside S1. Now, what is important about this one is the floor function. Okay, we have to remember what the floor function means in order to get this one done. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Line 13 is the only line that is outside of any subroutine definition, so we start with that one. It invokes main, so we only need a return line number column in this case, and it returns to post because line 13 is the last line of this program. Then we go into main. Main only has one line that does anything useful, which is line 11. Line 11 is going to invoke S1, so every time we invoke, we have to either allocate a column for return line number or return info. And we also need additional columns in this case because S1 has a parameter n, so we need to make sure that we allocate for parameter n here as well. The return line number is just line 12 because the invocation happens on line 11, and we just have to follow up to line 12 when the subroutine is done. Question?
I was just happy to do it.
Okay. And what are we passing to n? We're passing 5 to n. Okay, so n is passed by value, and that's why the 5 is on column E. When we are done with column D and column E, we go into the subroutine starting on line 3. Line 3 is asking n is less than 2. Is that true?
No.
It is false. If it is false, we go to the else branch starting on line 6. Line 6 immediately invokes S1 again, so that means we have to set up 2 columns one more time, return line number and n. The return line number is the easy one because the invoke is followed by the print statement on line 7, so the return line number is just 7.